Doing secondary research initially is critical. So, reading about the industry, reading about competition in this segment, and reading about how people are solving this problem currently. So, a lot of times the problem is being solved using, let's say, more being solved using inefficient methods. So, can you bring efficiency into that particular piece? So before Paytm came along or other payment players came along, people were still paying their electricity bills, right? They were paying their electricity bills, their gas bills, so on and so forth. They would stand in long queues in front of government offices, and it used to be a very painful exercise. Like, I've not done it personally, but at least from what folks tell me, that it used to be very painful. And this is something which was one of the use cases which payment players have offered. So they brought in efficiency into the process, and also just made it very easy for the user, right? So you need to do a lot of secondary research, read industry reports, read about the competition, go through the competition. You need to do market sizing. So a lot of times you may be able to solve a problem for a certain user segment, but that segment may not be big enough, right? Let's say perhaps you build some product which is maybe customized for a community which speaks a certain language, but then there are very few of those people. So then you can't really scale that product, right? So you need to ensure that the size of the segment is meaningful, so that there could be some commercialization possible down the line, right? As I mentioned, you analyze your competitors. Data analysis, if you have any data with you, if you have any reports with you, go through that. Differentiation. So here, when you're launching a product, you need to ensure that it's offering something different from the competition, right? So either you are solving a new problem altogether, or you could call it even utility. You could categorize that within utility. Uh, are you solving a new problem altogether? If not this, then you have to kind of differentiate on something else. So you have speed. Is your product solving the problem faster? Pricing, is it cheaper, or is it easier to use? Simplicity. So in WhatsApp's case, WhatsApp is a replacement for SMS. So you folks may not, you may not exchange a lot of SMSs now. But when I was a teenager, at that point we didn't have WhatsApp, and all of our messaging activity used to take place over SMS. So WhatsApp just made the SMS experience very simple and easy. And then you have quality of the product as well. So can you build a product which is more reliable than the competition, right? So these are the aspects where you can compete with your competition and outperform them. On Giving you an example on speed. So here, Instagram, when Instagram launched initially, what it did was, as soon as you click a photo in Instagram, right? The photo will start uploading on its own, even before you press the upload button over there. But in the case of the competition, this was not the practice, and this auto upload piece made uploading images on Instagram faster. So this was a differentiation for Instagram as well initially. Other than, of course, filters, which was the utility piece. That filters was something which nobody had really solved for at that level and with that level of quality, right? So that is what made things work for Instagram. Post this. So once you've done your research and you've identified your use cases, you should carry out customer surveys. So based on this research, you'll figure out, okay, there are 5 or 6 things I can do different from the competition, right? But then how do I identify which one is important, which one is not? I'm just making up assumptions in my mind, and things could just fail. So it's very essential to carry out customer surveys. Give them a ranking of the features which you're going to build in your product. So ask them to rank what is important for them when it comes to solving a particular problem, right? uh, Post this, of course, you could and here, while carrying out surveys, you need to ensure that you don't ask questions like, will you use should I build this product or not? If you ask questions like that, in most cases people will say yes, but then they will not use your product, because people say something and they do something completely different. That does happen. But when you ask them to rank things, the ranking questions are generally more reliable. So always ask people to rank the features or rank the solutions you have in mind. This service can also be used to identify the right problem to solve. So let's say you might feel that a user segment has a certain set of problems. you could ask them which problem is more important from for like what is which problem is bigger for them. So for example, all of you want to build startups. So what if let's say I'm carrying out a survey of you folks, and I could ask you, where are you stuck, or what do you think are the biggest hurdles in building your startup, and I could list 5 options, and there I'll be able to identify, okay, you're stuck on maybe option 3 or option 4. Hence, I should probably build some offering for you, which will help you overcome that hurdle, right? So you have surveys, then you have prototyping and customer feedback. So here, initially, once you have identified uh, what product you want to build, what features it should have, how you're differentiating from the competition, and you validated it with customer surveys, the next phase is actually to build a low fidelity prototype. So this could also be a cardboard based design, where you just design the app on a yeah, the app or the website on a piece of cardboard or on a piece of paper, and you try to validate whether users can use your design or not. Right? This is very low level. The next step, of course, is you build wireframes. So there are wireframing tools like you have Balsamic, and you have Figma as well. A lot of folks use Figma for wireframing. Post that, you get into building more high fidelity prototypes. So with these prototypes, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take feedback from the user on the design which you've proposed. So here you're validating at various stages. So initially you're validating whether there's a need for the product, then you're validating on the idea with the surveys and stuff and the features, and finally you're validating the design itself, and you're taking customers feedback, right? So if you've done this level of validation, the likelihood of your product failing, it's still, I would say, it's not low, but it's not that high either. I mean, if you've gone through these steps and you've done them rigorously, right? The next step now is doing an A/B test. So this is generally useful when your product is already there and you're building incremental features, right? I will just plug in my laptop, otherwise I will lose
Sure, sir.
contact with you folks. Yes, right. So this is yeah, the last 2 points are when you're building in subsequent versions. So you've already released your product. So once you've released your product, you will again repeat this cycle. I mean, you keep repeating the cycle. That is what product development, management is generally about. So once you've got your product out in the market, you've got some feedback, you'll repeat this whole loop. And now when you're doing it for the second time, you can also A/B test. So A/B testing is essentially just exposing, some certain new features you might have added in the new version to 50% of your audience, or to some percentage of your audience, and then comparing the results. Let's say half the segment you expose the new feature, and half the segment you don't expose the new feature, and the half you've exposed it to, that half uses your product for longer. It comes back more often, that segment of users, and maybe they are also transacting more on your platform, or they're doing some more activities. So that means the features you've built have been successful, right? So that's what A/B testing is about, and finally you incorporate it in the final product. So this is the whole process you go through in product management, right?